Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, and everybody in between.
It is 8:30 p.m. in Vienna, which means it's time for It Should Be About Something.
That's right.
Today is December the 2nd, and I've forgotten what else I was going to say. 2021.
Yeah. And I believe this is episode 54.
Jim.
Michael.
How was your week?
How is your week?
And while we update each other about how our week was,
go ahead and write in the chat how your week was. And we can already see people are saying hi, so, do what you do.
Yeah.
How was your week, buddy?
I think I need to drink.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Screw it. Let's go slurpers. Yeah. All right.
Everybody. So, my week's been kind of up and down.
Can you slide that over so that, because this is so out of sync, it keeps catching my eye.
It's bugging you?
Yeah, it's bugging the hells out of me.
Shall I move this?
Just,
you mean?
Just to slide the one window over the other window.
Like that?
Yeah, that helps.
Not bug your eye so much?
That does not bother me so much.
Okay, good.
It was like two different times happening.
Yeah.
All right.
You like being in the zone, not in the groove between the two zones.
Oh, I often find myself in the groove between being in the zone.
I kind of like being in the groove. It was my favorite place to sleep actually as a kid.
In the Spalt?
No. So
in the groove?
My bed was up against the wall on one side.
Ah, you were yeah, okay.
And then the sheet was tucked in underneath the mattress.
Right,
so I'd like pull the sheet out on the other side, and then I'd lie in this kind of bag that got created between the wall and my bed. That was like the most comfy place to sleep.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's like a little bit, kind of like a poor man's hammock.
I realized this. When do you still sleep with your bed against the wall? Like with a side of the bed against the wall?
Well, yes, I do, but that's because the room that our bed is in is small.
Right.
I'd love to have space on my side of the bed to get out.
Right.
But my wife's dibs the side of the bed with the space to get out.
They always, yeah. The ladies'
This is what
dibs,
my week's like.
Yeah, this is what the week is like. Sorry, I just needed to go on that for a second. Because I don't know, for me there was at some point where I didn't have my bed against a wall.
Yeah.
And I really associate my bed against the wall with childhood.
Uh-huh.
And a little bit with safety.
Right.
And burrowing. Like I remember having a breakup and then having to move the bedroom around.
Right.
And remember putting it against...
Rearrange your bedroom so you can rearrange your life kind of thing.
Yeah. Just to kind of mix it up or whatever. And then putting the bed against the wall and feeling kind of safe and then realizing, it's that childhood thing of having your bed against a wall.
Right.
I don't have my bed against the wall now.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
I think you have quite a large bedroom, actually.
It's big enough. I mean, I'd like to have a little bit more space on both sides if I had my druthers.
I'd just like to have a bedroom that's big enough for me to walk around three sides of the bed.
Right. Yeah. Well, I def have that.
The only time I get out of the bed like a normal person is when my wife's already out of bed. It was particularly bad when I broke my ribs.
God.
I couldn't get out of bed, so I had to like roll on my side and then, I don't know, creep down the bed so I could get out the end.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so
how was your week?
How was my week? Well, I got offered this job.
What?
I got contacted in August whether I wanted to do a job, like a voiceover thing.
Okay.
And I sent them a demo, and then I never heard from them again until last week. And they came back to me like, oh yeah, so we'd like you to do this demo. Are you still available? I'm like, yeah, I'm still available. And then I hear nothing.
Okay.
Until Friday. Friday they sent me an email saying, yeah, great, so can you come and do it on sometime next week? And this is what we're paying you. And I was like, fuck that. This is it's not even worth me writing back on Friday afternoon.
I see, yeah.
So I thought about it and I was like, fuck, that's the way they get you. They kind of get you excited about things. And then I go, yeah, it's like playing with a dog. Yeah, hey boy. And you're like, and then like, we're going to pay you $25 to do this 5-hour job.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I was like, And I wrote back and I said, well, thanks for getting back to me, but this is, and I said, this is substantially below my normal fee. And I quoted them 3 times what they'd quoted me.
Yeah.
And then it was like I sent off the email and I heard an audible gulp go through the ether. And then I think 3 days later, yesterday they wrote back to me. It's like, unfortunately, our client can't afford this much. So very sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So how was your week?
I feel like my week went by really fast.
Uh-huh.
And I think it did go by very fast. Didn't it feel like we were just, I don't know, for me it felt...
feels like that all the fucking time.
Well, yeah. And so my week was kind of a miasma.
It's like my weekend begins on Thursday.
Yeah. And it ends on Thursday. And begins again.
And then on Tuesday I'm scrambling to get things back into shape again, right?
Oh, because you've been hungover for 3 days?
Yeah, kind of. It's also this being separated between where I live and where I work, and it's actually not a good situation for me, which is why we're looking for a new place to live, because having the studio and the office here and living somewhere else, and because Christina's pregnant and our whole day has changed. Like, she's up really early, which means I'm up really early. She eats dinner really early, which means I eat dinner really early. And before I'd be here and work until 10 o'clock at night, and then I go home and eat.
Yeah.
And that's totally not working at all. So I'm not getting any work done. I'm like always scrambling to get anything done at the moment. So my weeks are like,
yeah,
kind of recently.
I hear that.
And we're looking for a place to stay. We went and looked at this place today, which looked great on paper. It was 5 minutes walking distance from the S-Bahn station, but it's still like half an hour out of town. So you'd be in town really quickly.
Right.
And it's great, and it's got a view, and it's got a garden and stuff like that. But the walk from the house to the station was like that. And today it was dry and it was tough. So yeah.
You mean it was dry so that you were imagining when it was icy, it would be
tough
impossible
to walk down it in dry conditions.
Right.
I don't want to walk down it when there's snow.
Right.
It'd be impossible.
Yeah. Okay.
Imagine pushing a pram with 2 babies. And I'm not talking about 6-month-old baby. I'm talking about 3-year-old babies, right? Because they can't walk up.
Oh, you would be so built.
So by the way, so who was that? Moko. I think it was Moko.
Yeah.
That will all end well. So yeah, it's going to end soon. I know. Follow Clay. So it was Moko saying, having children is like having all the groceries in your hand at the same time, and then somebody throwing you a priceless vase and saying catch.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And the kitchen's on fire.
And the kitchen's on fire while you're pushing uphill on a 45-degree slope and it's snowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll get back to you about that, Moko. But thanks for the warm words.
Yeah. Speaking of warmness and Moko, thanks for hitting our PayPal. That was just above and beyond again, and also to all the folks that did do that. Send us your
Yeah,
email.
you need to give us
email.
your snail mail
Your
address.
snail
so we
mail
can send you
addresses.
stickers.
We have 2 envelopes already ready to go.
We can't say who they're for.
We can't. We're not. Well,
We can't because there's a posting competition going on Isbaz HQ.
yeah, yeah. So
Got to get on
send
that and
us
stop
your
cheating,
your
follower
s-
of Clay.
Send us your snail mail addresses.
Yes.
So we can send you stickers.
So, follower of Clay's bro
Is in the
turns
house.
50 today.
Very cool.
Yeah, you should ask him how he feels about that because I got to tell you,
Let's. Well, first of all, to follower of Clay's brother who has turned 50.
yeah,
Good on you.
get a big slurp on.
Yeah. Slurps.
Moko, you've sent us your address to isbaz101@gmail.com. Probably. Okay, good. Good. I didn't mean you. I meant other people.
He did mean you.
I didn't.
Well, he didn't know he didn't mean
Shut
you.
up, Jim. Muchado in the house.
Machado.
Muchado hasn't been in the house for a while.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Awesome. Christina Lasmulik.
And the real chicken tender.
The real
was
chicken
here like
tender.
3 weeks ago or something. Real chicken tender. Nice to have you back.
Yeah.
Tender bender.
Absolutely.
Where's Verena? Oh, God.
No, Verena's not in.
It was snowing. Maybe she slipped.
Oh, God.
Okay, everybody touch your screen.
Verena?
Let's just hope that she hasn't broken something.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope. Well, if she's not in a relationship, chances are she's not badly hurt. Wasn't that the
She
thing?
always only break a limb when she's in a relationship.
I think so. I think it's always when she gets into a
Oh God,
relationship.
okay,
She ends
that's
up-
very complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like too complicated for words.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back and look at the mythology, the transcripts.
Yeah.
How did that work? So,
Okay, so these guys don't want to tell us what their week's been like,
No.
except follower of Clay. So follower of Clay, actually, I wanted to say, you need to ask your bro how he feels. Does he feel 50? Or actually ask him how old he feels. Because I'm 51 this year. I turned 50, I'm going to turn 52. So how does it feel being 50? I certainly don't feel 50.
well,
There's so many aspects to being 50, and I don't think, like, on my own list of criterion, I don't fulfill a single fucking one, except that my left knee sounds like I've got a pocket full of
gravel.
gravel. When I'm walking down the stairs, it sounds like I've got a pocket full of gravel.
Okay, but did you ever feel like your age?
Oh yeah, when I was 13, I felt like I was 13.
Okay.
That was like the worst time of my life. 13 to 19, that was pretty awful.
All right,
I think 13 to 17. When I got my driver's license, things got better.
I think we should make that. I'm gonna use this piece of paper to write this down. We're gonna have that as a chapter on feeling your age.
Have we already done that?
I feel like we have.
I feel like we kind of go over topics that are kind of interesting in the chat, and we're like, oh, that's something we should talk about. I think we've spoken about quite a few of them, actually.
Yeah,
Because
you
we're
should get
turned
some
on by
news
the same-
stories.
No, I think we're turned on by the same kind of topics.
Yeah.
But we've got great topics for you next week.
Right.
Much better than this week's topics.
Oh, yeah.
What is this week's topics?
Well, the fact is, I think we should move on to that because if you are joining us for the first time, you should know 2 things. Number 1, if you haven't gotten onto the chat, if you're just hanging out in Slurperdom, you're totally welcome to do that. But we would encourage you to get onto the chat because these are some of the nicest people this side of the VPN highway. And we can also tell you, if you're joining us for the first time, that It Should Be About Something comes to you in 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. We call them chapters. And this is chapter 1.
Do our own sound. Just get rid of that soundtrack and do our own soundtrack for it. Yeah, so Ludovico, thank you for the compliment, but it's a good thing you're not in a mathematic line of work because it does add up.
That doesn't add up. Yeah, that's true.
It gets better and better with each 10-year span. I gotta say, the span between 30 and 50 has been pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
That's the best span.
Fuck you.
I think that's the best. Would you say between 10 and 20 is
No,
the
I'm going to
best
say
span?
between 50 and 60 is the best.
I hope we all make
Well,
it.
I hope that for you too, actually. Just saying.
Just
hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Someday.
Yeah, someday when you turn 50.
Does talking to the cat count?
Count for what?
Oh, I don't know. We don't even know what our
this-
chapter is because we didn't even look to see what our chapter
You've forgotten.
was. Oh, I know what it is. Do you know what it is? Let's look at it
I
again.
have to think about it. Right. So talking to the cat definitely counts.
On the weird things you do alone. So, you're all alone. What are the things you do that you would consider weird?
Yeah.
Or maybe what were some things that you thought were normal, but then later you realized, oh no, shit, that's weird. And people don't do that.
Or maybe people just don't admit to doing it.
Oh yeah. So,
So I think Mocha was saying in the Isbaz chat today, we really don't want to know what she does when she's alone.
yeah.
But it's not about, spending the afternoon on the sofa with your dick in your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does that. That's not weird.
No,
So it's actually about the other things.
that's right. By the way, just so you realize, that's a phrase that Michael and I have used for years, sitting on the sofa with your dick in your hand, as a catch-all sort of thing of, what are you doing today? I am doing as little as possible.
And the little that I do
Is
pleasures
in my
me.
hand.
I likes it. What the little things that I do likes it.
I call it the little.
It's me and Mini-Me on the sofa doing things we like.
So it's not just something he pulled out of his ass. Sitting on the sofa with your dick in your hand.
Fucking furrow of clay. You're a dick. 50 and 60 might be good for people who had kids in the normals. Normal age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that a lot actually. But I think I'm way better at. I'm going to be way better at being a father now than I was ever before, because I've reached that point where I think I'm like one of those old dogs. They don't get angry about things anymore. You can pull their ears and you can ruffle their hair and you can pull their tail and you can ride them and stuff. They're just like lift their jowls, stick things inside. They don't care,
Right,
Just like,
right.
Yeah.
So you think
I think I've reached that point, and before I think I was a much snappier dog.
Yeah, with all the energy you had to run around the yard too much.
Run around the yard and bite kids.
Yeah. Who cares what people might think anyway? True dat. True dat.
Yeah.
That said, there's plenty of stuff, weird shit that we do alone that we don't necessarily want people to know that we do that. But we're going to talk about those things. So, like the real chicken tender, I hand squeegee all the water off my body before exiting the shower and using the towel. Now, that's just good sense. That's just
Wait a minute.
That's just good technique.
I think it's good. Yeah.
That's
if you
just
want to keep that
solid
If
technique.
you want to use that towel for at least 2 days before it starts smelling, that's a really good idea to do that.
It's solid technique. Absolutely. So, what's a weird thing that you do when you're alone?
Does it really count as something that's weird that you do when you're alone?
Sure. Absolutely.
Does it?
Don't question their shit, man. Come on. What do you got?
It's just a spectrum. I just want to.
It's a spectrum.
And is it on the spectrum?
I think it's totally on the spectrum.
So I think talking to the cat definitely counts.
Talking
and
to
in
the-
fact, I talk to my dead cats.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah. I have conversations with my dead cats.
Where are these cats? In your mind? I mean, when you're having the conversation, are you visualizing the cats when you're talking to them?
No, I don't visualize them. I just
Okay.
kind of potter around the house talking to them.
Okay, so you're talking to yourself, but in your head, you're talking to a cat?
Well, I'm also talking to the cat in the voice that I used for that cat.
So you had a specific voice, as we all have. You put on a little voice for your cat, whatever that voice is, and you put on that voice,
I put on that voice out loud and I talk to the cat.
which you're not visualizing.
No.
You're just using the voice, talking to yourself, but at the cat.
With the cat.
With the cat. Does the cat answer you?
Of course.
Well, okay, so the disembodied meows of the cat.
The cat goes meow.
Yeah. I love it. Now that is a super weird thing that you do alone, and I love it. I love it very
in fact,
much.
I think I do quite a lot of talking to myself.
Oh,
And like Christina will look at me and say, "You having a good conversation there?"
yeah. So
there's inside talking, but there's outside talking. Like I talk to myself, my mouth moves.
Yeah.
So the whole mask wearing thing is kind of good for me as well, because I can ride the U-Bahn and talk to myself and have my conversation and nobody really notices. I've started talking to myself in my car.
Yeah.
And just pretending that I've got the phone on. I used to pull up at the lights
right.
and stop my conversation so that the people in the cars next to me wouldn't think I'm weird.
Yeah.
But these days, you can just be talking, you can be on the phone. So I pull up at the lights, having the conversation that I'm having with myself, and I just continue. I'm just talking, and I don't care if they watch me or they look at me, because I'm talking to myself on the phone. It's totally legit.
I get it.
And I do both of me.
Oh yeah, you do both of you?
Or the cat. There's one cat in particular that I like talking to more than the other cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the orange cat that.
But you're not visualizing these cats.
No.
They're just disembodied voices.
They have this cat had a very specific voice. It had this very, very raspy meow. Like it was nothing sweet about this cat's meow. It didn't
Right.
It went, "Ah, ah." Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So what's something weird that you do when you're alone?
Okay, so one thing that I try to do when I'm alone. Oh, by the way, just about those half conversations when you're talking to yourself, Anna does that a lot too, where she'll say something and it's obvious she's not talking to me, but her face will have this like expectant, like, you got to answer me, right? You know, and I was like, but what you were just saying had nothing to do with me whatsoever. It's all this thing that's going on.
Okay, this is something that happens to me quite a lot as well. So Christina will come into the room and kind of start talking to me mid-sentence. Like she's had the whole conversation. She started the conversation in her head when she left the room that she was in. Then she kind of enters the kitchen, starts talking the rest of the conversation to me. But she started the conversation with me back there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm kind of getting the tail end of the conversation. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, woman? I have no idea. Just include me.
The one I also love is starting the sentence as I'm walking out of the room.
That's great.
That
Yes.
one, okay, we finished whatever is happening, walking out of the room, and then hearing this thing start, I'm just like, and then having to decide, is it for me or not? You know? Pavlov's dog is in the house, seeing her here.
Because I don't do weird things. That's not what you did. That's not what you said on Isbaz HQ.
Yeah. And anything I do alone, I would do with an audience.
Now we need to know. She's baiting us.
Yeah,
She's baiting us.
That's, oh man.
We're gonna do a whole episode on all the things we imagine Moko doing.
Yeah. Moko's just the biggest tease of them all.
So Pavlov's dog in the house. Nice to see you again.
I even talk to pets when other people are around.
But I mean, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
I've always talked to my pets when other people are around.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
sometimes the pets are better conversation than the people in the room with you.
Absolutely. So one of the weird things that I do when I'm alone is that I find myself, I will walk around the apartment like trying to find places that I haven't stood for a long time. Like going and standing in a corner or just checking that area out and just hanging out there, like seeing like how comfortable is it? Like, and realizing why I haven't gone to that spot maybe for a while or... Okay, so that's a weird thing that I do. I think that's definitely weird. What else is weird that I do alone?
I find I rarely do any ironing when I'm not alone. That's like a chore that I do when I'm on my own.
Ironing is an alone time thing?
Yeah, it's an alone time thing. It's like when I know that my wife's gone for a couple of days, then I put out this huge pile of ironing.
Right.
And then kind of work my way through it for a couple of days.
Right.
It's not necessarily a weird thing, though.
Yeah. I used to have a total, sort of ritual of how I would do my mornings. And then I kind of broke that up. And then I found myself falling into that. So now the weirdest thing that I'm doing lately is I'll get up in the morning, like around sometimes 6:30, sometimes 7:30, and I'll be up for an hour and a half. I might even eat. I'll read. I might, move myself around. But then
into parts of the apartment you haven't been in.
Into parts of the apartment that I haven't been in, and then I'll go back to sleep for an hour and a half or something like that.
Your 50 to 60 is going to be the best part of your life. It's like, definitely. You're going to be finding corners in your apartment you haven't been in. You didn't even know were there.
The day before, or the day before, or the day before, or the day before.
Rediscovering things you discovered the day before. Rediscovering things you rediscovered the day before.
Yeah. So, I think that's definitely a weird thing. I don't know, maybe it's not so weird.
I don't know, I think everybody does it.
I suppose so. I just wish I could make it productive in some way.
The getting up in the early morning?
Yeah.
Well, I think something I've started doing recently is kind of preparing food during the day so that it doesn't have to be prepared when I want to eat.
Right.
And that's a totally good thing to do, like early in the day.
Right. Preparing food for later.
Yeah. And yes, Machado, totally. I think that's a kind of good thing. That is exactly what I kind of tend out doing is thinking, mulling over things in your head, and you do the ironing. Yeah. Something else that I kind of start doing home improvement things when I'm on my own. When I know that I'm on my own, because home improvement always makes a huge mess. And the in-between steps of home improvement look worse than what you had before. So you don't need people, my wife, in the house pouring judgment on the in-between steps. Right?
Yeah.
You need to show the finished product.
Yeah. You don't want to get micromanaged on things like that. And
yeah. I'm not sure I get micromanaged, but I did this project where I took apart a chair.
Right.
And it was an old chair. It's like an antique chair. And I had to take the whole thing apart because the glue was completely dried out. So the chair had been in working order, but I knew it had to get fixed. It was going to break soon.
Yeah.
So Christina left the apartment and went to visit her parents for the weekend. And in the meantime, I took the chair apart and I sent her a photograph of what the chair looked like in all its bits and pieces on the kitchen table. And she was freaking out like, so don't do that. Bad thing to do.
Nobody wants...
Which is why I kind of like doing these home improvement things when I have the place to myself, because I just make a mess. And when I want to take a break, I can just take a break and leave the mess. And there's nobody there to worry about. There's a mess there, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I don't have to shower when I go to bed dirty.
Yeah. It always looks worse before it gets better. Always. I think
that's my favorite phrase.
It always looks worse before it gets better? Yeah.
So weird things that you do alone.
Yeah. We got some nice things there. I like Real Chicken Tender was saying preparing meals ahead of time is just good practice, like squeegeeing off your, Yeah. I have
Zuckergussfee in the house.
in the house.
Dermatillomania. unfortunately, that's what I do when there's somebody else neurotic in the house. Dermatillomania.
Dermatillomania. I don't know what that is.
Mr. Rogers is not here to look it up for us.
Yeah, we're going to need some
You
ground
probably
support
wouldn't actually
on dermatillomania. I wonder if that's like
It's something
like,
you do with your
is that
skin.
like
It's like
is that
picking
like
at your skin.
is that like I had a friend who used to do that. She would always like kind of pick at her her one thumb, you know, and she'd always be like that, and I'd be always like, dude, oh yeah. That was like a thing.
I can't
Sometimes people have like a thing with their eyebrow.
Yeah. I can't do that one-sided, so I can't do only one thumb. If I do one thumb, then I got to do both. I always got to do both things. I got to do. See, I'm doing it now. Fucking hell.
How do you play guitar? Clunk, 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 clunk.
It doesn't apply to playing.
Clunk.
Doesn't apply. It applies to picking. So if I start picking on one side, then I got to do the other side as well.
Right. Yeah.
Skin picking, yeah.
Okay. got it.
Dermatillomania. Yes.
Dermatillomania.
I think I've got a pretty good case of dermatillomania myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, particularly on the sofa. Like on the sofa in summer, especially when you're not wearing much. Like you're on the sofa in your undies.
Yeah.
And you kind of find that hair that's kind of ingrown on the back of your back of your leg. Or,
Yeah. And you just,
pick around on that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think dermatillomania sounds so much cooler than what it in fact is. Like, come on down, it's dermatillomania.
We got all the dermatillomania you want for under $50.
Right here at Dermatillomania.
Get a 3-day pass for $39.99.
You've never seen dermatillo like this.
Pavlov's dog, same here, but I don't care who's around.
Yeah. Pavlov's dog and Moko are going to get together because they don't need an audience, or they could have an audience. They'll just do it.
Yeah.
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 Well, peoples,
Summer's the worst.
I think we did it. I think we got through chapter 1 on the
One
weird
more
thing.
thing I wanted to say
Yes?
to dermatillomania, sorry.
Yes.
Is that, yes, summer is the worst, but for a while, like during my early 20s to mid 30s, before my skin cleared up, one of the worst things to have was one of those enlarging mirrors. Because fuck me, if I didn't walk past that mirror once a day, like if I'm in a hotel room that has an enlarging mirror, I'd walk in kind of looking okay, but I'd walk out.
Oh, because you go in and you're like, oh yeah, you're picking, and oh god, the worst. Oh, the worst. The worst. When I was a kid, I had this really weird rash on my knees. I was like, I don't know, I'm going to say 10, 11. And it always came in winter. And then we realized, we thought it was like I didn't know if it was the detergent or, whatever, but it was always on my knees and they would get really itchy.
Yeah.
Detergent. And I would scratch this, and it just felt so good to scratch them. But then my knee would like get covered in this really weird caked on scab that was like layers and layers of
It's
scabbing.
magic. It's magic. Magic cake.
Layers and layers.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, Michael's reincorporating the future. Good job, Smulik. So, and then we get all in there, and I don't know how it finally went away. It was awful, but just the feeling of relief, of physiological, psychological relief of being able to, it was just terrible. Yeah, super gross. So winter can also be the worst.
I got a knee thing. So my whole life, until I think I was about 11, 12, right? I was convinced that my knees were kind of a dark brownish color.
Okay.
Until I'd started going to new school and got a new best friend. And I spent the weekend at his house once, right? And so we're in the bath, in the tub. And his mom walks in and she's like, "Are you boys clean?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she takes a look at my knees and she says, "Those knees aren't clean." And I'm like, "Yeah, I washed them. That's the color they always have." And she's like, "See about that." She took a scrubbing brush. She took them to my knees. And it was kind of painful, but it was also the most incredible thing as well, because my knees were changing color. And it was like magic. She was like, scrubbing the, started from one side, it's like she was painting them a new color. And they came out all pink on the other end. I was like, oh, I did not know this. So from that day forth, I had a new color knee.
That's
on
amazing.
both sides.
It's like your first mustache. I've got a mustache. No, it's just dirt. It's just dirt. It was an allergy to the genes that had reinforced knees. But
Thanks, Donna. That's yeah.
yeah,
It's banal, but it would seem.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that's true. I think this is a lot because I remember distinctly wearing long johns between myself. It doesn't matter.
It was too tight.
That was chapter 1. It's time to move on. Let's go to chapter 2.
Yes.
And here we go.
I think it's a perfect segue because
It is.
I grew up in South Africa and we had a lot of dirt,
Yeah.
which is why my knees were that color.
Okay, so here's the question. We're talking about where you grew up and how it helped to shape you. So what is one thing that you would, of your personality or how you live your life, that you attribute to where you grew up? Maybe it's a local thing that you love to eat, or maybe it's an attitude towards something that you have.
Yeah, maybe it's something that's practiced in that part of the world, like eating together or
Yeah. What's something
living with your extended family
about where you grew up that helped to shape you? So,
Jim, what's
yes.
something about where you grew up that helped to shape you? Have I got the pink stuff over here?
I got it here. So I grew up in Maine, in the United States, near the ocean, and living in coastal environs totally shaped me. I have a huge love of the ocean, which I attribute to growing up near it. I have a huge fear of deserts, which I attribute to...
You have a fear of deserts.
I think I have a fear of deserts.
Desertophobia.
The reason I think I have a fear of deserts is because... What's that Patricia Highsmith novel that takes place in the desert?
I don't think I've ever read a Patricia Highsmith
Any novel I have read, or what about like Camus, like The Stranger, right?
Can we slurp?
Yes, let's slurp. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Slurp it, slurp, slurp,
novel. Good
slurp.
slurp. I'm getting, and you're right, the pink, sweet, juicy stuff does kind of grow on you.
Yeah,
It's still not yummy.
No.
And I'm never going to buy it again, but it's better than it was the first time.
there you go. So for me, the ocean, because that's where I grew up, the ocean represents for me freedom. The ocean represents for me escape. And I know it. Mm-hmm. I always feel like if shit went down, if the aliens landed, whatever that shit is, if I was near the water, I could get away. And if I think about if shit goes down and I'm in the desert, there's nowhere to go. So like the middle of America always scared me. Oklahoma, Arizona.
The middle of America scares me too, but for different reasons.
Well,
it's more like the people who live there scare me.
And I think it has to do with the landscape. So, it is said by me that wherever the landscape is flat, people go a little too crazy. And I think it's because there's too much sky. But beyond that, and this holds true, Florida, flat, people are nuts. In the middle of America, flat, the people are crazy. They're just wild. They're just weird people. The valleys of Belgium, the long plains, Belgians are weird. The freaking, if you go down to what's the Bundesrepublik's the Bundesland?
The flattest Germany?
No, the flattest in Austria?
Burgenland.
Exactly. Who's weird there? The Burgenländer. I think wherever it's flat, people go a little weird. And so I was always a little afraid of where it's flat. And apparently it's called aeromophobia,
The
fear of deserts. But they also fascinate me for the same reason, because I would love to really go to the desert. I did go to Egypt once, and I was in the desert, and it was an amazing time.
What about the USA? Deserts in the USA?
Well, there is a desert in Maine. It's called the Desert of Maine. It is a man-made desert, actually made by a man. And it's just a tourist trap.
He's proud of himself for making that right in the middle of a green place.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of pride involved. I think it was just trying to,
He bought
convert on an inopportune moment.
He bought an open plan copper mine and then called it a desert.
So the other thing, much like Fowler of Clay saying he grew up in East Germany, forming his social skills, growing up in Maine for me was a really interesting place, because Maine is one of those end of the world places. It's a place that doesn't have many people. Those people are generally liberal. Mostly, they used to be what one would consider libertarian until that got co-opted by the assholes.
Yeah. Is it kind of like Nova Scotia?
Oh, it's very much like Nova Scotia. That's all part of the Maritimes. Right. And so it's a hard environment. The winters are very cold. Summers are very hot. You've got to get the fish in. You've got to get the potatoes in. You've got to cut the lumber. You've got to bring in the water. You've got to cut the wood. And generally, Mainers basically are, if it's a good idea, they don't care if it's a Republican idea or a Democrat idea, as long as it's a good idea. And there have been missteps along the way. Fucking Susan Collins. I could really, what the fuck, Susan? Seriously?
Yeah, what the fuck, Susan? I mean, talk to your cat sometime.
And, during the Trump era, there was some missteps along the way. But generally, Mainers are very solid, very friendly, helpful people. I'm reminded of that adage, they'll say it about New York and Los Angeles. They'll say, New Yorkers are not friendly, but they're kind. And people in Los Angeles are friendly, but they're not kind. So it's the kind of thing, like if you're in New York, the old lady who's trying to get up the steps, I don't give a shit who you are, but I'll help you bring your shit up. And maybe that's an East Coast, West Coast thing. I don't know, but I think of that in Maine very much. That there's a real aptitude, and people want to help, and I think that kind of rubbed off on me. I consider myself quite liberal. There are some people
before it got co-opted by the assholes.
No, very liberal. Yeah,
I read today on Facebook, somebody posted something like, define libertarian, and the definition was house cats. They frown upon the system that they're in, and use it entirely to their advantage without understanding how it actually works.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, and so I think that was a big help to me. I think it also hindered me in some ways. So I grew up in a very rural area. It was very progressive in some ways. So
is there any part of Maine that's not rural?
Very little. I mean, yes, the largest city in Maine, it would not be considered rural.
Is it like Portland?
That's Portland, Maine.
Is it like the size of St. Pölten?
Yeah, it's like 150, maybe 200,000 now.
Yeah, St. Pölten.
Yeah.
It's
but it is the city of that area.
I totally get it.
And so the kids that would grow up in Portland were different from kids that grew up in the city.
Yeah.
That old Eagles song, "City Girls Just Seem to Find Out Early." And that was always it's always in my brain when I meet people in Vienna, or people that grew up in the city. There's a different Zugang, there's a different access to life. Also just culturally. So, in the United States, the discussions, the relationship you can have with somebody who is 18 to 24 is very different from the discussions you could have with somebody in the United States that is 18 to 24. One of the reasons is because you could have those discussions in a bar.
Yes. Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
There's an infantilism that I attribute to a lack of socialization. Infantilism, thank you. That I would attribute to a strange socialization that happens, whether you're, growing up in the country or in the city.
System, like.
It has to do with the alcohol age. It has to do with being able to get into places. It has to do with access.
I think that's. I'm sure that's an aspect as well. But I think the kind of conversations that you have with people also has a lot to do with what is their life experience and what ideas have they been confronted with.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And so that has everything to do with access. And so if you grow up in a city, you're going to have access to other things than you're going to have when you grow up in the country.
Yes.
Now, that said, I grew up in an area, where, as you rightly say, city and rural is a little, combined.
A grayish area.
It's a grayish area. So, there's tons. My high school was the first high school in the state of Maine to have a baby barn, a dedicated building for young women who had children to be able to continue high school by having daycare at this place.
Damn.
The reason being because it was needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was cool that
so it's
happened.
Wow. Yeah.
Maine was a very cool place, and I think it did form me in a lot of ways that I'm just realizing even now, even though it's been so long since I've been there. I mean, I'm now over half my life in
me too.
In Austria.
Me too. And I think actually that the soul searching and the defining of your personality and the discovery of all the details that make you up never ends. It's like the more you pick at that wallpaper, the bigger the bits are that come off, but it's a never-ending roll of wallpaper.
Yeah. But it's also because, our personalities, it's just slices in time. It's like home. I am now convinced, and I'm not sure if somebody has said, who said this, but I'm convinced home is not a location. Home is a time. Home, that's why you can never go home again. Because you can go back to that place, but...
Yeah, but you can never go back to the way you felt.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe home's a feeling.
Yeah.
Which is why I like to talk to my cat.
Yeah.
My dead cat.
Yeah. I totally get that.
So the real chicken tender...
doesn't mind flat, but don't like flat and forested.
Trees. Yeah.
So you can't see landmarks or vantage points easily. Okay, so this is interesting. I wonder where the real chicken tender is from. So my first...
I'm gonna say not from Siberia.
Yeah, my first Austrian girlfriend, when she came to America, that was one of the things, because Maine is so forested. It's very hilly and it's very forested. And she was just like, you can't see anything because there's so many trees.
Yeah, man, it's fuck all to see anyway.
It's hilly and forested. Home is a feeling, yeah. Yeah.
So,
is there one thing? Is there something is there an attitude that you have that you can totally ascribe to having lived in South Africa, being grown up in South Africa?
Yeah, I get this these attacks of cut the bullshit and let's just get down to brass tacks. I think that's
Dutch directness.
It's a very kind of South African trait. It's like, you boys, stop talking about it and just fucking do it.
Yeah.
They're getting bogged down in talking about how you're going to do something instead of rolling up your sleeves and going out there with a shovel and just fucking doing it.
God, that drives me crazy sometimes. Yes.
It's like,
yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Now you got the shovel in your hand, but I don't see you digging.
Yeah, just do it. Just don't ask me. Just do it.
So yeah, I think that's definitely the most formative thing that I've taken with me from South Africa.
Yeah. When did you have your first alcoholic drink? I'm drinking alcohol. Were you 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18?
I think I was
9?
14.
14?
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you have your first time out? Like
Around about
came
the same
home to
time.
like yeah. Okay.
Around about the same time. I was allowed to go out. No, maybe it was a year later. Maybe it was 15.
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of started going out on weekends to like clubs and discos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the drinking age was 18, but I was drinking anyway.
Right. But you lived in something that was fairly.
Oh, I lived in Johannesburg.
Yeah. So you were in a city. You had access to everything that Johannesburg had to offer.
I mean, there were certain clubs that I couldn't get into as a 14-year-old.
Sure.
There were clubs that you just didn't care and they'd let anybody in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are the ones that we went to.
And so because I grew up in the country, none of that started for me until at least I was 16.
Yeah.
Because then I could drive at the end of 15.
Drive. That's so crazy. You're allowed to drive, but you're not allowed to drink.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to, like, you're not allowed to take the bus and go into a bar, but you're allowed to drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a weird. I don't know. It's so weird. Why would you do that? You know, you can kill a lot more people with a car than you can with beer, with a wine cooler. I don't know. It's nuts. Yeah, I can't remember what that club was called actually, but it was such a shitty club that one night it rained, and it was in the lower floor of a 4 or 5 story building.
Right.
And it rained hard, and the water was just coming out of the ceiling onto the dance floor.
And you were barefoot.
Why the fuck that place didn't just fucking collapse on all the kids in there? Just it was the pits. But it was fun to go there when I was 14 or 15, right?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about growing up where I grew up was because it was that end of the world place, I had access to really weird, the flotsam and jetsam of society. It's a place where weirdos would go. Mm. It's a place where artists would go and poets and architects.
Because they're misanthropic and there's nobody up there.
Yeah, and because there was space.
Yeah, and cheap space.
But also the rich people would go there. Yeah. I mean, Maine was beautiful. They call it vacation land. And at the turn of the previous century, the top 5% of the world's wealth had places in Maine.
Oh.
So all of the Rothschilds and the DuPonts and they're beautiful places.
But you know why that happens?
Because it's
real estate speculation.
Well, no.
See, if you and I go and buy real estate in the south of Italy, where you can buy a house for €1, provided you keep it.
Yeah.
You
do
prove
the thing.
it, or you let it get any worse, right? And we convince all our artist friends and some of our rich artist friends to buy that too. And then we have a little community down there. Yeah. And the prices are going to go up. And then the Rothschilds and everybody else is going to buy down there as well.
Yeah. But that's the gentrification process. This process was, there's a bunch of rich people that live in New York. Okay, a day's or 2 days drive away, travel away to go to Maine and set up a hunting lodge. Right. That's what that was.
Yeah.
And so it was there's just beautiful, beautiful places.
Yeah.
But living that close to poverty and to wealth also has its thing.
It's very interesting, actually, that because you grew up in the United States and you lived very close to poverty and to wealth, and you got to know both sides.
Sometimes,
and I grew up in South Africa and I lived close to poverty and to wealth, but I only got to know the middle class to wealthy side because the poverty side was black, and because of the segregation, I virtually knew no black people.
Right.
I only started getting to know black people when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, and I left South Africa when I was 21.
Right.
I think I've formed acquaintances and friendships with more black people in Europe
than
I had in South Africa.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's nuts. It really is nuts. And that's how that segregation works. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Just awful.
Crazy idea. And that's, I think, okay, so this is actually something that has, I think only somebody who grows up in a country that you don't be on that, that has that kind of some kind of racial segregation or religious segregation or something.
Yeah.
Because it's so ingrained in your history that it's impossible to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like every time I meet someone who's not white, I'm transported back to being, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, living in a segregated society.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how much I change or how my views change or whatever. There's always that like split second where I'm transported back to that.
Right.
It's like it's an impossible thing to get rid of.
Yeah.
I think that's
absolutely.
definitely, I guess, I don't know, shaped me.
Yeah, sure.
But it's maybe, it's certainly baggage that I carry along from where I come from.
Yeah. I had baggage for a long time because in Maine I grew up poor. And yeah, when we say, knowing both sides, it's just seeing the other side.
Yeah.
As Fitzgerald said, the rich are unlike us. Even the fact that, okay, so I grew up in this high school. I grew up in this area that had a high school. And then in Portland, there was a couple of high schools, and then there was the private school. And I had, the private school, that's where Cameron Diaz went to that private school. What's her name? Lord of the Rings plays the elf, daughter of Steve Tyler, Liv Tyler.
Yeah,
Liv Tyler went to this high school.
Oh, really? I thought Liv Tyler grew up in poverty.
No. Liv Tyler.
No, that's
somebody else.
The branding. No. I've actually seen an interview or something like that.
Well,
when she was like, yeah. And,
see, I missed her.
Oh, she grew up in the boondocks and then this little thing, and then she saw her dad on TV, and she's like, he's got the same face.
Yeah, okay.
This is myth. I mean,
No. It's mixed into it. So I used to play in a band with this guy, Buddy Bourgeois.
Right.
And Buddy was this Buddy Bourgeois. And I don't know if Buddy's still out there, but I would love to talk to Buddy again. He was one of the sweetest, brilliant guitar player. He played with Zappa. He knew a bunch of these dudes, and he was really good friends with Liv Tyler's mom, who had been a professional groupie.
Right.
And the story goes, I actually met her once with Buddy. I met Bob Dylan while I was with Buddy. That was a whole different story. But the story goes that...
How did it shape you?
Oh.
Meeting Bob Dylan.
Oh.
How does it feel?
So the story goes that Bebby had this daughter, but because Steven Tyler was a junkie at the time, she basically told Todd Rundgren that it was his kid.
Oh.
And so Liv grows up thinking that that's her dad until later when she starts asking questions and then sees this, and then finally that it comes out. So part of that mythology is right, but she did not grow up poor. Yeah. She went to this private school and those kids got everything.
That Todd Rundgren paid for.
Because when I was a kid, He had
a wing named after him.
Yeah, totally. It's like one of those things. Yeah. When I was a kid, I was always part of these gifted and talented programs because I was a smart kid, and then I got a chance to be mixed in with a bunch of kids that were rich, or at least not poor. But then that stopped, and then I would run into these kids every once in a while, cross on things, and then I realized just how different it was for them. It was. They had so much access.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the baby barn. We had some wonderful things too. I mean, I had a teacher that was a graduate of Harvard, Yale, and Brandeis Universities. I had some wonderful.
Jesus, he had a lot of free time.
I had a whole bunch of wonderful teachers.
Check it out. So we got Marcus Burkert in the house who had a haircut for reasons I'm not quite understanding, but it got long and you had to cut it, or what is the dark alley situation?
How did
you get your hair cut?
How did he
in
get a haircut?
lockdown,
It's
bro?
fucking lockdown. Oh, you know how he got it? It's from his ex.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how he got the haircut. Okay, that's all
So
good.
you're on speaking terms. Well, that's okay.
They always have been. She's
Maybe
always been cutting his
they're
hair.
just on clipping terms.
We should not be talking about this here. Jesus, Michael, stop it. Zucker Goose Fay, growing up in Tyrol makes I find everybody nice, friendly, and open except for Tyroleans.
Yeah, but you would because
the grass is always greener on the other side.
No, because the valleys are so deep in Tyrol that nobody gets in there. They're stuck in their own little worlds. You know that being in Tyrol always reminds me of that episode in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where this whole culture is on this planet, and the planet is inside a gas cloud.
Right.
And they believe that this is the whole universe, this is
Right.
the whole world.
Right.
And then a
Right.
foreign spaceship crashes on their planet, and they use it as a blueprint to build their own spaceship, and then they leave the gas cloud and they see there's a whole universe.
Yeah.
And their reaction is, it's going to have to go. So they
Yeah, this is too much.
we've got to get rid of this shit. So they declare war on the whole universe.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's kind of like the Tyroleans as well. They're stuck in these very deep little valleys. They're on their own. And anything that comes in, anything that goes out is like, no, we don't like this, right?
Yeah.
So my favorite Tyroleans are also the Tyroleans that have left Tyrol.
Yeah. Well, those are the only Tyroleans that you really meet.
Yeah, because they're so narrow, those valleys. It's difficult to get in there, you know.
The Schluchtenscheiße.
Look.
But what I love, so the fact is though, you know, you always hate that sound. Like when you're on vacation and suddenly behind you, you hear an Austrian or a German, you know, you go crazy, right? You know, they're too loud, they're this, they're that, they're this, unless they're English or Russian.
Right.
You know,
If they're Russian, they're always too loud.
who are the worst tourists? You know, the English, the Russian, or the Germans? Nobody knows.
The Americans are a close
The
second.
Americans are also terrible. So yeah, hating your own is always a good thing. Sukafuku's face says, you know, does it mean I can speak French because I'm from Maine? Qu'est-ce que tu fais, hein? No, I would speak Quebecois, but not very much. Recently I was playing a character that was talking like a Quebecois. I was doing this the whole day. It was wonderful. Yes, they have a very, very strange accent. Yeah, Real Chicken Tender is saying that. They're talking to each other. Marcus is right. Oh, he's saying that. I was right about that. Everybody likes Tyroleans? Yeah, as long as they're not in Tyrol.
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing is how many people come to Vienna and they come from Tyrol. Particularly, I find Tyrol and Kärnten. I think those are the two most closed or repressive provinces of Austria. Like, I know so many people who come from there who would never dream of going back. It's like they're so glad to be away from the Catholicism and you know, the pedestrianism of life in those places. And the thing is, they're beautiful places to go to.
Yeah.
But you really don't want to live there.
Well, there's this weird provinciality of places like that. Salzburg, right? Where everything that's here is everything that we need.
Yeah.
We don't need anything. If it's not here, we don't need it.
Salzburg also comes with that shitty attitude.
Absolutely, because of that thing. Yeah. But you'll find it as well in Corinth. You'll find it in any of those places. And then Berlin. You know, there's that weird pride in being less than. Aber sexy.
What?
I don't know. I'm not. I have to think about this.
Okay.
I have to think about this better. But it's when you go to visit one of those places, Maine would be a great example. Vorarlberg is a great example. Tyrol is a great example. You're struck by the newness of it because it's new to you. You're struck by the physical beauty of it because it's great. You're struck by the friendliness or the unfriendliness of the people because of whatever experiences you're having. But the people that live there will always look at you as a foreigner. And to hold their status of, I'm here, I'm an Einheimischer, people will go to really weird lengths.
Right. I'm proud of the fact that I have less experience of what the world is like.
Exactly. I am proud of the fact that
Because
everything
it means
I
I'm
need,
from here.
Because I'm from here and I define myself.
Rooted here.
Yeah. And I think this has to do with what Real Chicken Tender was saying, that you find the people you relate easier to are people who live near other people. And absolutely. But that the pride of the Einheimische is sometimes so undeserved.
Yeah, well, it's like being born into something. You know, if you don't have to be proud of being born into anything because you didn't fucking do anything to be there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Marcus coming in with the sociocultural studies, actually assuming that landscape has direct influence on culture. Absolutely, of course it does. Where you live, of course it does. You see it in architecture, like the architecture of the Southwest in America is different from the architecture of the Southeast. In Florida, you've got buildings with really big windows and big open to get the blow, the air breezing through it because it's moist. And then in the Southwest, you've got really thick houses with smaller windows because.
Are you talking about the
architecture,
the ethnic architecture, or
not even just the architecture? Architecture
modern,
is local.
Modern architecture.
Yeah. Up until the invention of the air conditioner, everywhere you went had a specific
their own kind of architecture
because it had to do with that
conditioned
climate.
air. But I've never I know what the kind of ethnic architecture in the southwest of the United States looks like. They have those pueblos and the Hopi Mesa and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've never seen any buildings from that era in like what they would look like in Florida.
Oh, well, okay. Well, first of all, you're saying ethnic. I mean, yes, of course, Native Americans did have that style of architecture, but I'm still talking about any kind of architecture that's built in those areas. It will still have that same idea because during the day, the thick walls will soak up the heat and release it in the night, and the windows are small to keep the heat out. In the Southwest, in the Southeast, because of the humidity in Florida, you would have porches, gazebos.
Houses on stilts.
You'll have houses on stilts. You'll have, but the windows will be big and airy with mosquito nets.
And they'll be made of wood, and they won't last very long. They'll rot away.
Yes.
Maybe archaeological.
I mean, there's plenty of wood houses that are still around. I mean, America is made of wood. Europe is made of stone and brick. America is made mostly of wood. But there are Victorian homes in Maine that are brick that are still there, and there are ones that are wood that are still there.
I was kind of thinking further back than the 16th century. I think.
Yeah, but once you get to America, those the Eastern North American native societies were often
nomadic.
Nomadic, absolutely.
I like this. Everybody likes Tyroleans? ? By Marco. Just saying. Maybe not everybody. We shouldn't assume.
Yeah. Is Moko Tyrolean?
No, I don't think so.
Did Moko ever hang out with a Tyrolean?
I think Moko's connection to Tyrolean might exclusively be a bothersome northern neighbor.
Yeah. In any case,
Vorarlberg, I don't know. Vorarlberg's a kind of weird place. I'm not actually sure it exists. Although I've been there twice or thrice, it's like I don't know. It's an undefinable blob on the end of the country.
It's sort of like the 23rd district.
Like the 21st district.
In any case, I think we finished chapter 2. It's now time to have a
geodeterministic motherfucker. That's a great word. Geodeterministic.
Your face is geodeterministic. We're going to a commercial.
Your mic's on.
Oh, shit. We need to make our commercial longer so I can pick.
Now, back to the show.
Whoop. Man, that was fast.
That's a lot of vodka.
I didn't mean to give you that much vodka.
I have an appointment tomorrow morning. Yeah, that's okay. That's better. Thank you. Factoid. Yeah, okay, good. We can do that. Sure. It's a factoid.
What's a factoid?
Geodeterministic.
You're welcome.
Just for you. Thank you, Marcus. Well done, bro. Late to the party, but got his own factoid.
Coming in hard.
Coming in hard and short-haired.
Hard and short hair.
Cool. So, should we go on to...
Yes. Before we do that, though, we mentioned this earlier. A huge thank you to everyone who has hit us up on the PayPal. There is a link in the description of the video if you'd like to support us. But just showing up is terrific. If you do, however, want to send us something on the PayPal, we will send you an envelope with a personalized note and a whole bunch of stickers, which we have had made. And some of the folks out there have gotten their stickers, and we're sending out some today. But please send us your snail mail address. We would love to send you some stickers.
Yeah, and then take a photograph of where you put your sticker and post it on Isbaz HQ.
Yes.
For laughs.
Yes.
Yes.
I did one.
For laughs.
For laughs.
Ah!
For laughs.
Somebody stuck one on the space shuttle.
I know, that's amazing.
I didn't realize we'd made stickers that big.
Yeah.
Not until I saw it did I realize we'd made stickers that big.
Yeah. Just. Oh.
Why don't we have more viewers? If we have advertising on the space shuttle, why don't we have more viewers?
It's not about the number.
Yeah.
It's
It's about the quality.
It's about the quality, not the quantity.
Yeah.
Speaking of quality, you know who I haven't seen in a while in the chat is your mom. She had a birthday not too long ago.
She did, but she was off working.
Yeah.
And she got back on her birthday, or the day before her birthday last week. Yeah. I don't know. And I spoke to my dad on Skype, and he hinted that he was having some difficulties with YouTube.
The YouTubes,
So, I don't know.
an enemy for all time.
Yes.
Well, maybe
They're fighting the technical fight.
Well, maybe we can make him feel better with this. This is chapter 3.
So I'm an absolute professional on this topic.
Yes. So Michael is, hold on a sec. No, wait. I want to talk about this. So Michael is an absolute professional on this topic. Michael does collect something.
I collect more than one thing.
Michael collects many things. I've been privy, solicitous, and accomplice to one of his collecting passions.
Really?
Which is model trains. But I'd like to now go to Mr. Michael Smolik himself to find out all of the things that he collects. Michael, what do you collect? You collect trains?
You've been solicitous to my train collecting?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You know how I was? Do you remember Chicago?
That's right. Oh yeah, he indulged me for a whole half a day, and we went to this terrible neighborhood in Chicago because I had to go to this model train show.
The neighborhood was yeah.
But then when we wanted to go back home, we called for a taxi, and they said the taxis don't go to that neighborhood, so we had to take a bus.
Which also apparently didn't come to that neighborhood.
No, we did take the bus, but it was 50 stops or something on the bus. It was an enormous amount of stops. Yeah.
It was crazy.
I remember. You went. What's that guy's name? It was he's
It was in this crazy
He is
neighborhood.
a U.S. Model train. He's like a guru in the U.S. And his name
That
was-
guy?
That guy. Yeah. He's
That
cool.
guy, he was like this old dude who
Yeah.
lived in a house that was just filled with model trains. So I can understand why he might be the guru, just because he has everything.
Everything in that house was covered in dust.
Yeah.
And all the price tags were at least like 20 years old. Zevon or something like that.
Nobody cares. So,
Yeah.
what else do you collect besides model trains?
Guitars.
Guitars.
A huge collection of guitars.
How many pieces do you have in your collection now?
I'm gonna say more than 22.
Seriously? I have 3 guitars. I have
Where are
2.
you hiding the third one?
I have 2 guitars. The third one is Anna's guitar.
Doesn't count.
It's not my guitar.
You've collected it. I get
But
it.
I've collected it
I get
because
it.
I use it way more than she
You
does.
collected it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have a big collection of guitars. I didn't realize you had over 20 guitars.
Yeah, I really got to stop collecting. I'm. Wait a minute.
Where are they
I
all?
was.
I don't care where they are. Nobody cares. I want to know what's the next thing. So trains, guitars. What else do you collect?
No, I need to elaborate on this.
You will. I want to come back. I just want to get a quick overview. Is there anything else you collect?
Vinyl,
Also, okay, records.
LP records.
Yeah.
Memorabilia, so kitchen magnets. And like
You collect kitchen magnets?
Fridge magnets.
Okay.
Everywhere I go, gets a fridge magnet.
See, now we know how to make Michael happy. I love this. I love it when people have a thing. It makes it so easy. Now wherever I go, I'm going to find for you the ugliest, most terrible kitchen magnet.
Yeah, but it
ever.
doesn't. No, it doesn't make. No. It's not the same thing. If, like, you can't get me a magnet from where you went. I need to get a magnet from where I went.
Oh, but
That's
so,
not how it works.
So you're not. Oh, okay.
You
have
can
to
keep
collect.
getting me the shitty T-shirt.
Okay. I went to Hawaii, and my buddy went to Hawaii, and all I got was this shitty T-shirt.
I collect to-do lists. I collect to-do lists as well.
That's funny.
Like every computer that I have has a to-do list on it, no matter how old it is and how many years ago it was that I used it.
Okay, now hold on a second. Pavlov's dog, audio plays. Do you mean radio plays, like Hörspiele? You collect those? And what is TKKG? If you collect radio plays, I have a couple that I can send you, because I used to do that too. Swinger Club NRC, who's in the house.
Well, it's Swinger Club NRC.
Yeah, I don't know. Welcome to the party. Collects whiskey. How many bottles of
a nice
whiskey?
thing to collect.
That's a nice thing to collect.
I collected empty bottles of whiskey for a while.
Zuckergoose Faye collects rubber rings. What kind of rubber rings? Like for
Yeah,
your
you need to
finger?
elaborate on that.
Like your, or broken condoms. What do you got going there? I want to know.
What was this? Tony Robbins?
It's not Tony Robbins. He says he's not a guru because Tony Robbins is a guru. Okay, but we've got your trains, your guitars, your magnets. Anything else that you collect? Watches? Are you still collecting watches?
I never was collecting watches,
Okay.
but I've kind of slid into that thing.
Right.
But I'm not collecting them. No. I'm trying very hard not to start collecting them.
Yeah. Rare compliments. I love it. Collecting
write them down?
Rare compliments.
You could put out a book at some point.
I want to have a collection of compliments. I actually found a compliment generator that or the idea of having, like those insult generators, or like your any kind of generator where it's like, okay, use this thing and this thing and this thing. I want to have one of those. I want
Compliment generator.
a compliment generator.
I used to collect things that you'd get on the airline as well. Who's that, Mocha? Yeah. But they're a pain in the ass to move.
The
So,
drink
like,
cans?
Yeah, so
Oh.
you can kind of collect them for a while. You can put them up on the shelf, and then the shelf gets full.
Well, that's the thing.
Then you need a new shelf.
Eh.
And the thing is, you can't do anything with them, really. And then when you move house, you're like, okay, fuck it.
I used
I'm
to
just gonna
collect.
get rid of these.
I used to collect. I had at one time an entire complete collection of all of the Star Wars baseball cards. Star Wars
Yeah.
movie baseball cards.
Wow.
I had a poster from Revenge of the Jedi, which later was named Return of the Jedi. That
You had the original that said Revenge, right?
because I was a part of the Star Wars
Ooh!
fan club,
Wow.
and all
They were collecting you.
all of these cards and together with the poster got left out in the rain
Oh shit.
by my sisters.
Fuck.
I hated them so much.
It's even worse if it gets left out by you.
Marcus collects memories. How do you archive those memories? Just in that great big brain of yours, or do you have a diary? Do you have pictures? How do you archive a collection of
TKKG is
memories?
a series of children's radio plays.
What does it stand for? Is it like TKKG? The something gang? I don't know.
Nutcrackers and giraffes.
Yeah, that's Philly Girl 1000. Full disclosure for those of you joining us for the first time, is my mom. So anything she says, you can believe. But
If
it's
it's
true.
about Jim.
It's true. She collects nutcrackers. I, in fact, have a couple of nutcrackers in my house. And what she means is, like the big,
Yeah. The
for
ones
Christmas,
that are shaped like an animal
or a
human
soldier.
or
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a
Not
couple of
the
those.
banal, just
Yeah.
the nut cracking implement.
Yeah.
My mom used to have a friend who collected elephants, little statuettes of elephants, and in her house she had these, I think it was 3 or 4 glass-fronted cases
Yeah.
that were from the floor to the ceiling,
Filled with elephants?
filled with elephants,
Alf-
color-coded. So they kind of started with little black wooden elephants and ivory ebony elephants,
Right.
and they kind of went through the blues and the greens all the way to the white ones,
Alphonse Haida,
like this size to that size kind of thing. Right? Yeah.
a wonderful Austrian cabaretist / politician / moderator
Slash theater director.
yeah,
Maybe not.
/ dude of many. He back when I was on tour with him, we went to his house, and he is a huge elephant collector. His house
Really?
was filled with elephants.
Really?
Huge elephants, tiny elephants, glass elephants, ceramic elephants, steel elephants, brass elephants, wood elephants, everything elephants.
Wow.
I love people who are into something like that. I used to be into dolphins when I was a kid,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got nothing like that now.
So one of the things that I stopped collecting at some point, just because snail mail became such an unusual or difficult thing to do. Like I'd travel somewhere, and I'd collect all the invoices and the bills and the placemats and the drink mats and the cards
coasters,
and the train tickets and stuff, and I put them all in one envelope.
Right.
And then I'd send the envelope to myself,
Right.
and then I'd collect the envelope, and I had a box of
Well,
envelopes
that's nice.
with all the things that I'd collected on that trip.
Right. That's really nice. I think my Steuerberater had wished I had done that.
Instead of just chucking everything.
Instead
in
of
the
just chucking everything into a shoebox or forgetting about it when I would go on tour. That would probably be a good thing, to put all my receipts and everything into one thing and then just mail it.
Tim, Karl, Klößchen, and Gabi.
That's the TKKG.
That's fucking brilliant. Klößchen and Gabi.
Klößchen. The Real Chicken Tender, collecting old cameras.
Hang on. Is color ones. The what?
I collect those for the household, color ones.
Oh.
Rubber rings.
No, but I think she means rubber bands.
Gummiringel.
Gummiringel.
Gummiringel, rubber rings.
Rubber bands.
Rubber bands.
Right,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
cool.
Okay, now we got it. Thank you, Zuckergussfee.
My parents moved
old
from
cameras.
Hamburg to Rome. What? My parents? My parents hated me. Yes, I'm sure they did.
Okay, that should be another one. What's the most ridiculous thing you ever moved in a move?
I think there's several of them,
Yeah.
and you helped me move one of them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Several times, actually.
I had a terrible plastic figure that was a bank. It was about this high.
Jesus.
It had like an umbrella. It was like a cartoon sort of statue of a guy with an umbrella, and it was like saving for a rainy day kind of a thing. You know, it was like secondhand from the 70s, and it was filled with American.
Secondhand from the 70s. That's the name of my new show.
Secondhand from the 70s. It's a great. It's an album title. So, and I moved that across the Atlantic.
Oh, Jesus.
I moved that to, oh God, it was just awful.
Yeah.
Collecting stamps and coins and stones. So I would like to say something about stones. I have collected stones for a long time. I have quite a collection of stones, and mostly, in Gegenteil to your thing, I would ask people, if I had friends that were going on vacation or going on a tour or whatever, I would say, listen, while you're away, wherever you are, grab a little rock for me.
It doesn't have a stone, actually.
Doesn't have to be special. It can be, but you know, even just if you think of it, just pick up a stone from that place and bring it to me. And then
Where'd you keep them? I've never seen them.
I have a glass bowl filled with them. I have no idea whose stone is who, but I did it for two reasons. One, because then that person would come and visit me and tell me about their adventure, because I wanted to hear about their thing. And two, I knew that if they did that while they're on vacation, they were thinking of me. They were actually thinking, oh, I should grab something for Jim. And so they took time out of their vacation to grab me a stone. And I thought that was really fun because I was kind of on vacation with them. Yeah. And now I've got this thing filled with...
Yeah. In the middle of the desert, there's only sand. It's like, fuck, when can I find a stone
What am I going to get for Jim? Yeah.
There's no stones here.
Yeah. Yeah. People stressed on their vacations because they're looking for a stone for Libby.
Yeah, I remember collecting stamps when I was a kid. I collected stamps and I collected coins. In fact, I still have a collection of stamps, but I haven't looked at them for ages. I've been thinking about getting them priced and sold.
Yeah, because somebody else will enjoy them more.
Somebody else would enjoy them, and I'm kind of at that point where I see them in the shelf occasionally, those volumes. I think I hope the fish moths haven't got to them yet.
Yeah, Christina Lasmulik collects nail polish.
That's true.
She's got a
huge collection of nail polish.
Huge collection of nail polish.
Yeah.
Tsukugusfei, elephants. Her granny collected elephants too.
She died at 102.
102?
She was an elephant. Elephants live for a long time, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it gives you a long life to collect elephants. That's what she says. Yeah, Gummiringel.
Gummiringel.
I do the exact same thing, Jim. Now I have stones from around the world, even one from Machu Picchu.
Ooh,
right?
Nice.
Super cool. It's really nice.
Stone thing from now.
Everybody, do the stone thing.
Yeah.
And it's really, what's really funny is that people sometimes they'll be like, I really looked for a stone, even though I explicitly say it doesn't have to be a nice one. Just even if you're at a parking lot, you just think of it, just grab it. But people will bring you really nice ones. Sometimes they're just regular ones. Sometimes they're all cool. And it's a really nice way of getting them to come and talk to you about it rather than just getting a postcard.
So something else that I collect is lanyards from shows that I've been to, like lanyards with backstage passes on and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did that implicitly.
And I've got quite a collection of those, which is kind of nice. I've actually started putting things in a box that's marked theatre and show memorabilia. So like shows that I've done or places,
I did that for the
I've
Lovers.
been on stage for a while, right? And I kind of put all those things like these backstage passes or photographs.
But where do you put that box?
Well, yeah.
That's the thing.
True.
And
it's
where
on
do
a
you
shelf.
display it? I have been collecting for 25 years stuff from the Lovers.
Yeah.
Like, I have a program from when we did the TEDx in the Volkstheater. Do you have a program from that still?
I have a whole thing from that, yeah.
Right. And it's hanging around somewhere, so we're probably doubled. Yeah. And, to go through that archive, it's just such a... Archiving your life sucks.
Stones and shells are two of the things that I collect. Don't bring any more shells. Yeah, I started collecting shells because I wanted to make one of those lamps that has the shells on the outside.
Yeah.
So you turn on the light and
Yeah,
they
do
shine.
something with those
And I
shells.
started doing that, but then I didn't have enough shells to finish it, and then I had to put the unfinished lamp somewhere and go on holiday again and collect more shells.
Yeah.
And now it's an unfinished project. You know what I collect? I collect
Unfinished projects. Yeah. Like on his to-do lists. Yeah.
Every time I clear out a jacket that I've worn for a season or a notebook and yes, I collect notebooks, by the way, Follower of Clay, because Follower of Clay was like, you wasted an Isbaz sticker on a 2021 notebook.
No,
Wow,
so you
that-
but you keep that notebook.
I keep that
That's part of your archive.
That goes into my archive,
Yeah?
yeah. Mhm.
You know, when we open up
This next move
the
is gonna be
Michael
terrible.
J. Smolik, the Michael J. Smolik Memorial Library, there will be a wing dedicated to his collections, and one of those collections will be those diaries, and then you will be able to look at an original Isbaz sticker
From 1973.
from 2021,
Yeah.
from 1970.
It's gonna have to be a very, very big, spacious library so that we can have a model train going all the way around the top.
Yeah. Philly Girl 1000 says you can never have too many shells. Yeah.
Well,
Apparently, you can have too
Apparently.
little, but you can't have too many.
This is true. Yeah.
Unfinished projects is actually the thing. There are so many unfinished ideas
Makes
in
up
my
a
life.
life, isn't it? That's kind of what makes up a life. All the unfinished ideas left in your head.
What I love is finding like a series of to-do lists that have the same thing on it
Oh yeah.
for months.
Like no. I think there's like 5 things that I do. It's like write invoices, like, to make my bed, change the tires on the car, and then it's like those are the things that go on my to-do list. And if I find a to-do list from 2017, it has those.
It
5
has
things
those
on it.
things on it.
That-
Yes,
that
absolutely.
and maybe buy shaving cream. So-
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, as they say.
Unfinished collections and unfinished intentions.
Yeah.
Dang. Have we reached the end of the collection road?
I think we've reached the end of the collection road. There's a ton of stuff that we could continue on, but we
No,
have
I
to
think-
find
I
a way to
think
make
this is
this
a good-
end.
I think this is a good place to stop because I need to go and pee now as well.
I
This-
collect
this
wish
pink
I
stuff.
hads and should have dones. I wish I hads and should have dones.
That's a song. That's a song right there. It's going to go on that. On what's the LP called? We'll have
I don't remember.
We'll have to rewatch.
We're
the
gonna have
show.
to. We're gonna have to go back. We're gonna have to go back to figure that out. But
Okay,
it's
you
been-
guys.
I think we. I think it's been about
Been
something.
about something. Yeah.
I think it has been about something. We want to say. Well, let's do this real quick. Let's say goodbye to everybody. We had Zuckergoose Faye,
We had
Marcus,
Machado and
The Real Chicken Tender,
Pavlov's
Philly
Dog,
Girl 1000,
Follower of Clay,
Christina La Smulik,
and Anarab,
and Moko, and
more Machado, and
yeah,
more Marcus,
Marcus,
and
and-
more Moko, and more Zuckergusfe, and
we can't find all of the people, but if we didn't, and Valerie Muya was in the house there
Valerie.
I saw her in there for a quick bit, and all of y'all. Thank you all very, very much for joining us, and I think that's it.
yeah, I'm calling it.
You're gonna call it?
Yeah.
This is you calling it?
This is me calling it.
right.
It's been the best Isbaz ever.
Well, first of all, yes, it has definitely been the best Isbaz ever.
Yeah, and remember,
Wait, before we do any of this, I just want to make sure that we know what's happening next week. Are we going to return next week?
yes, we did a promo.
That means we're definitely doing it.
That means we're most probably doing it. Yeah,
We're definitely most probably doing it.
it's true.
So there will be an episode 55, and it probably most
55.
55.
Baby, you want to learn how to count to 55?
I can teach you faster than you can say poopty poopty pants.
A 1, a 2,
Two
2
and a half.
55.
55. Girlfriend's age? 55. Is there anybody out there that remembers 55? It was a very early internet Yeah, okay, 55.
Yeah,
Anyway,
whatever.
We are going to return next week for episode 55, 55, so we'll be very excited for that, and the topics will be announced for post-show.
Shenanigans
And during the week shenanigans
and funky stuff.
and all the funky stuff, check out our funky Facebook page. It's called IsBazHQ.
And the link is in the description. Did you put it in the description?
The link is in the description. It should be in the description.
You might have to go to Facebook and put in IsBazHQ.
You may have to. We may have to check that. I don't know. If the
may have
link
to
is not in the
change this.
description, no, the link should be in the description. If it's not in the description, then that was an oversight. But it should be in the description. If it's not in the description, just go to IsBazHQ and come and hang out with us. There's all kinds of really wonderful people there doing all kinds of wonderful stuff and having fun. So check us out there.
Cool.
And definitely been the best IsBaz ever.
And remember,
No matter how tough the topic,
or what it was about,
even if you disagree,
you can always hug it out.
hug it out.
Hug it out.
Hug it out!
Best IsBaz ever.
I need to pee.
Okay. Oh shit. Post-credit thingy.
Slurpy, slurpy. Down. I can slurpy, slurpy down.
Slurpy slurpy.
Because I went to take a pee in the meantime.
Woo!
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm turning it off.